Hey guys, the sky's falling, and we don't know what the Federal Reserve's going to do. So everyone panic and sit on the edge of your seat because the Federal Reserve may raise interest rates higher than 0.5% on Wednesday because our CPI is 8.6. Does this sound like a free market to you? It's not, okay? My name's Eric. This is above my pay grade. Let's get into it. So everyone's wondering, are we in a recession? Economists won't let you know until July 1st, until the second quarter of GDP comes out. But we're in a recession. And how I can guarantee that is our economy is 70% consumption. And as inflation goes up, guess what goes down? Consumption, right? And in the first quarter, we had a negative GDP. And we're just waiting for the numbers of the second quarter to come out. We're in a recession. The question is the Federal Reserve going to cause a depression? And everyone's wondering this because they don't think that the Federal Reserve actually has the guts or that the math works for the Federal Reserve to actually raise interest rates. And I had a couple of subscribers ask me, so what does this look like? This economic, sun's coming out. This economic depression / recession. And in America, it looks a lot worse than other countries. And let me tell you why. Because if your economy is based off of people buying stuff on Amazon, stuff at the department store, if your economy is run off of consumption, when there's an issue, that consumption goes down. Production, on the other hand, if your economy is run off production, things people need, goods and services, like a lot of other economies are, they're going to weather the storm a lot better. So everyone's wondering, the Federal Reserve's coming out on Wednesday, and they're going to raise interest rates again, either 0.5%. Some people are saying 1%. How jacked up is it that we live in a world where the market, the stock market, individuals are just on the edge of their seat with bated breath? Like, what is the Federal Reserve going to do? Does that sound like a capitalist system? It's just not. A couple unelected bureaucrats at the Federal Reserve jack with the money system during COVID and introduce the amount of liquidity that no man has ever seen. And, people at that time were okay with it, stimmies and all that. But I kind of think, I've been thinking about this, and politicians and unelected bureaucrats are kind of like salesmen. Salesmen will sell you on something, and they never talk about the negative, and they only talk about the positive. Let's take a car. You'll love it. Can't you see yourself in this sweet new red sports car? They don't mention the payments and the debt burden and all that kind of stuff for a reason. And politicians do the exact same thing. And I would wonder, no matter what you thought about lockdowns at the time, what would you think about them now if you knew what the cost is? The cost of shutting down supply chains. Because it's going to cost a lot of lives. Because if your barometer for lockdowns was it saves lives, in my opinion, and I think this will bear out in the facts, because of the supply chain breakdown, a lot of people in third world countries are going to starve because they don't have the luxury of having the world reserve currency like we do. So it's going to cause a lot of malnutrition and potential death from just the supply chain alone. So if you were told back in 2020, hey, okay, we're just shutting down, no harm, no foul, and you're getting these stimmy checks. Then you kept reading, and down in the small print it said, oh, and by the way, this is going to cause an economic depression worldwide. I don't know if people would have accepted that trade. But at the time, all they thought was, hey, this is saving lives, and we can print money out of thin air, and we just can't. So everyone's, bated breath, wondering what is the Federal Reserve going to do. And the thing is, most people I watch, they're kind of between the Federal Reserve has to make a decision. Which is worse, inflation or a depression? Because that's kind of where we're at. Because by raising interest rates, they're going to cause a depression, especially if they raise them appropriately to fight inflation. And if they don't raise them appropriately, like they have been doing, just half a basis point here and there, it's just going to cause stagflation, which is high inflation, high unemployment, and low GDP, which is like the worst. So the Federal Reserve is coming to a crossroads. The question everyone's asking is, what are they going to do about it? Long-term solution is the Federal Reserve shouldn't exist. Okay, these unelected bureaucrats who mess with the money supply shouldn't exist. The free market would figure this out. And yes, there would be crashes and all that, but they'd be a lot shorter. And depressions and recessions, I would say recessions are good for the economy because all the malinvestment is cleared out. So all the people who were running their business off easy money, all those people would be gone. But I find it kind of disgusting that an entire nation, and in a large part, it's the entire world because we have the world reserve currency, is with bated breath wondering what Jerome Powell is going to do. It's kind of messed up. And I want to educate people, those who see what's coming as far as like the economic times and they feel it, right? I want to point them in the right direction as to who to blame. Because like in 2011, when Occupy Wall Street came out, they blamed Wall Street. They blamed these greedy bankers. And again, if the incentive exists, it usually comes from the government. If non-free market incentives are out there, no bank, no company has a money printer. The only people that do, the federal government. So they create these distortions because banks see the incentive like, hey, we can take undue risk, and the Federal Reserve is going to bail us out. So at that point, you become an idiot if you don't take that. If you're a bank who doesn't want to take a bailout, you'll lose because every other bank is doing it. So the Federal Reserve and the federal government create this competition where you have to take these distorted incentives or you're going to lose because all your competition is doing it. When there's free money that you can just grab, same thing with like the PPP loans and all that. It's hard not to take it when all your competition is. So what's the cure? The long-term cure? We have to go through this depression, but hopefully enough citizens wake up to the fact that this is caused by the Federal Reserve. These booms and busts that are apocalyptic and biblical every 10 years, they're going to get worse. The booms are going to get better or higher, if you will, and the busts are going to get way worse. And all caused by the Federal Reserve messing with the money supply. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but the long-term cure, Federal Reserve's got to go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you guys in the next one.